like Trey would say, rock and roll baseball.
I guess so. I've never heard that, but
Yeah.
let's go.
Swing this under the arm.
That's right.
Oh, you already have some in your
I
cup?
know, I have some water in here that I was drinking. I need to finish that first. Gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first.
Well, folks, we have something. We have a fun coffee. A part of it is I just got back from San Francisco. Actually, it was not just San Francisco, which we will get into that shortly. It was the entire West Coast, almost the entire. That's crazy. Didn't think it was almost the entire West Coast. Up from Bellingham, Washington, all the way down to San Francisco. But yeah, a lot of great coffee around San Francisco. But there was a small little multi-roaster cafe. It was called Ain't Normal or Not Normal. I think it was Ain't Normal coffee. And what do you expect? What kind of coffee do they have? Ain't Normal coffee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was trying to come up with
naturals.
something smart.
It was all the geishas. It was all the bonker coffee. So, yeah. I picked up a bag. So I was like, why not?
Are you sure this isn't the same coffee that Corvus is serving? They're both Colombian.
Oh, I don't
So
know.
similar.
It's very similar.
Except I know what you paid for this versus what I heard the Corvus one is. Maybe I'm wrong. I need to double check the website, but the Corvus one was significantly cheaper in price.
They have a lot of the similar qualities. That barrel aged flavor. I don't know what it is. It's like a barrel
liqueur, like a
yeah. But it's sweet. It's kind of boozy. I wouldn't say it's winey. It's not winey.
It's not winey. No.
It's more of that like that rich barrel aged.
Yeah.
But it's also has a lot of those like those classic like fruity aftertones.
Yeah. It's a little bit of like it's like darker berries. Yeah, I mean it's like a classic natural to a degree.
Yeah, I kind of like that barrel aged twist on it. It kind of gives it a little more complexity than the classic natural, which, you know, call me out, sure, whatever. But I think a lot of, which they've gotten better, and a lot of people in the industry have said that, but naturals have gotten better over time. Yeah. Where before it was just like fermenty, boozy, just, it's almost like you're tasting like really badly brewed like kombucha.
Yeah.
Which is just like over fermenty. Like it's cool, it's funk, you know, but it's just over fermenty, which naturals have gotten a lot better. But I still think that a lot of them lack complexity and clarity.
Yeah.
Like it'll just be like a bomb, like hits your face and then you're like,
yeah,
cool, like mangoes. But
I also think because this coffee is anaerobic natural, right?
I think so. I don't know.
I think the anaerobic process has helped a lot of the clarity show up in naturals. Because I think before when naturals were exposed to the elements a little more than like anaerobic, that's more contained. I don't know. At this point, I'm just guessing and assuming. I don't have any proof, but that's what more my thought is.
It's a little more monitored than just being left out in the elements. Yeah.
Again, I'm enjoying this, but I don't know if I can do this as a daily drinker.
Yeah, it's a daily drive. Yeah, I don't know. It's juicy. I kind of like it. I'm actually enjoying this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the grind size actually is first time brewing it. I think the grind size was like pretty it's
pretty good.
Yeah, it's there. So yeah, that's fun. Actually, that being said, not only did I just come back from my trip, but also I was just at Proud Mary this morning.
Dang.
Oh man, first off, from Bellingham, from Portland to Bellingham, it took almost 7 hours of driving.
And it's normally what, a 4?
Normally, with no traffic, you can do 4 hours. Maybe a
Dang.
little over 4
Yeah.
hours. It took 7 hours.
Dang, so much traffic.
It was so rough. It felt exhausting.
Where was the hot spot? South of Seattle, north of Seattle?
Dude, anywhere from like south of Tacoma to Everett. That entire strip. It was like, there was some pockets that were like good to go, but so much traffic. But anyways, I was at Proud Mary this morning. If anybody knows Proud Mary, just... Dude, they slap. They have, I don't know, they're just doing everything so beautifully. I had a $14 pour over. It's kind of bonkers. I just looked at that and I'm like, that's just wild. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I wish coffee was valued this way, like on a front direct to consumer way. And I feel like their pour overs have been getting more and more expensive every time that like their max, most expensive one has been getting more and growing in that. But anyways, it reminds me a lot about with this, but they almost had an all anaerobic, all natural menu. They had a couple washed geishas, which I wanted to get, but they were very tea-like. And I was like, not kind of my cup of tea.
That's not your thing. Yeah.
But I will say their naturals and whatever they're doing, whoever they're sourcing from, is probably some of the cleanest out there.
They're also doing all the coffees in the freezer, right?
Yeah.
The hoppers are in the freezer.
Yeah, that's pretty bonkers. I was looking at that
I don't know
today.
I don't think I've been there with those hoppers yet.
Oh, dude.
Because the last time I've been there was well over 2 years ago.
Yeah. And
3 years ago. Maybe more. Because it was before I lived here. I haven't been there since we moved. So they haven't had those hoppers up there.
Yeah, but they have some interesting stuff going on. But anyways, so I was gone for 2 weeks, just doing work stuff. Because once again, folks, we honestly just have normal jobs outside of this.
Hard to believe, but
which is cool. Yeah, but that's the reality of it. I was shooting like a 7-day project going down the West Coast. It was a good time. Honestly, felt like work. But a couple days ago, I was like, I honestly can't wait to get home and work. It felt weird because it felt like a vacation, but I'm like, wait, I've been working this whole time.
Yeah.
We've literally been on the road shooting, driving. But I was like, I kind of can't wait to come back home and work because I feel like this vacation. Which is weird. Maybe because I missed
change a location. You're moving. Everything's happening. Yeah.
Not to say I'm definitely tired. So
yeah.
But anyways, what was that like? Because you also worked full time, more than full time, and then we're doing some roasting. Yeah,
I mean it's been a crazy 2 weeks. One at Makeworth, it's been super busy because of finals. Students are studying and just so busy. And then both me and Micah are taking some time off. So our schedules were like stacked up. I worked 9 days in a row. Micah worked, I think, 7 or 8 days in a row. And we were just maxed. And majority of the time, it's just Micah and I behind the bar with the volume of what it would be on a weekend with 3 people behind the bar. So I wouldn't say we were short-staffed. We were just like not prepared for how many people would show up to do finals in the cafe. So to a degree, things are looking like this normal of like, pre-COVID volume of people within a short amount of time. So it's so busy there at the cafe. And then I'm trying to crank out a new summer menu.
Yeah.
And then all in the while, looking at our Shopify account, looking at the orders, fulfilling orders, and then heading to the roastery and throwing in a batch. Like that one day I roasted till past 1 a.m. So after a 9-hour shift at the cafe, literally it was such a wild day. 9 hours, went home, ate some food, went to the gym for an hour, and went from the gym to the roastery and roasted till 1 a.m. Came home, went to bed, and woke up to open up the cafe. So it was wild, but it was a ton of fun too, because roasting that many, because I normally don't roast that many batches back to back to back. And then plus my computer and all the fun stuff of trying to calibrate. So it was tricky, fun, exciting, something new for me. And I felt like majority of the time I was just pumping and riding on adrenaline, because the next thing you got to do. Yeah. Well, one of the times I went to ship coffees and left the house from, I think, just your office at the roastery, and went from there to the roastery, came back, and our mom was awake, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" She was so confused. She's like, didn't make any sense. She's like, "What are you still doing here?" Yeah, but it was super fun. Good experience.
Yeah, that's
10 out of 10.
I mean, now you have a month off.
Yeah.
So literally,
more paternity leave.
Now you have some vacay hours.
Yeah.
But I'm stoked because, I mean, you're also leaving, flying out to Jacksonville.
Good old Jacksonville. We'll be across Florida, so flying into Tampa, staying there a few days, and then driving from Tampa to Jacksonville. Anyone who's listening knows the geography of Florida. It's basically coast to coast. So I'm going from the Gulf to the Atlantic coast, and I'll be driving through Orlando. Definitely going to hit up cafes in Orlando. I'll be hitting up cafes everywhere, but going to go to the classic spots in Tampa, St. Pete. Going to hang out with my friend Steve. Go to
Shout out to Steve.
Shout out to Steve.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. So there's Bandit in St. Pete. Then there's a ton of good stuff like Union, Commune & Co. Probably going to get some coffee from, just blanked on that roasting company. They're another pretty decently big roasting company started by one of the bandmates in Under Oath. Maxwell Mooney knows them, I think, because we were talking about, that's how I was talking about narratives from one of the podcasts that they were on. Man, what are they called? I can see their logo. It's the one with the alligator. Come on, folks. Anybody, chime in the comments. I know this isn't live, but I kind of wish it was. I'm like, dude, help me out here. We need a fact checker. But anyway, go there, then probably hit up Lineage. You were at Lineage. You enjoyed
Lineage was a good time. I liked it there.
Yeah, I'm going to try to hit them up. They're a roasting company. And then Classic in Jacksonville, I was just talking to Grant at Bold Bean, and he's like, dude, are you going to be here on Thursday? Because you can join our production cupping. So I may jump into a production cupping there.
That's a vibe.
Hoping to. I got to make sure my schedule is aligned to make it there on time. But yeah, and then cruise around, St. Augustine. Going to try to hit a couple of waves, surf a little. It's only been 3 years or 2.5 years since I battled out. So,
dude, are you going to smash a little UFO?
Dude, of course we're going to go there. Dude, the taco shop. Dude. Shout out to the taco shop. That would be a good sponsor for the podcast, dude.
That's a sponsor I would.
Dude, so tasty, dude.
So good, man. Yeah. I just don't, I can't remember. I can remember. It's hard to forget such an experience the first time Sergei took me when I was visiting. They literally have what they call as a UFO, which is almost like a Taco Bell Crunchwrap. Kind of. But it's like on steroids. Yeah. It's like insane. Bonkers.
It's a heavy meal, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you that. Ward, our buddy Ward, one time ate a UFO, and we decided to paddle out an hour later, and he didn't make it get past the breaker before the UFO was in the water. Dude, it was wild. Oh, man.
Oh, dude.
Too wild.
That's bonkers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some good food.
Holy cow.
I'm excited. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's fun. Yeah, so we, that being said, we're always hitting up cafes, wherever we go. That's the first thing that I look for going to a new city. And although going to a new city, going to San Francisco, I've been to San Francisco a couple times. So I'm fairly familiar with their coffee scene, but they actually had I actually did 2 polls. I did a poll on the Mirror Coffee Roasters Instagram and a poll on my personal Instagram. And some of the most popular ones I went and visited, which was Sightglass. I had a couple people say St. Frank's, and then couple people. Well, someone said Andy Town. Somebody said 4 Barrel, I think. Someone trolled me, said Starbucks. Of course. But yeah, like I think, visiting them, this is kind of what I would say is probably my top 3 coffee roasting companies, cafes in San Francisco. So if you're in San Francisco, maybe you live there and you haven't tried this out, or you're traveling there, this is what I would say. My all-time favorite, which we'll probably be sipping on their coffee on the next podcast or something. It's St. Frank's.
Yeah.
St. Frank's coffee is, man, everything they do is just absolutely incredible. Like from their sourcing to their just business model, to their relationship coffees, to their roasting, the quality of their coffees. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was there 4 times in one weekend, and every time it was just like dialed, clean, like beautiful, like everything from the espresso to the cappuccino that I had, to the pour overs, to even the Kenyan iced coffee was like pretty good. Like, and so like that was a tremendously beautiful experience. And I also took a bag of coffee home. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a Honduras. And that Honduras, I think I had also on pour over there. Dude, it was just so good. Like,
dude, everything you've brought before, even before this trip, that you've brought home and that I've sipped on, it's been so good. So, and not only their coffee, like their presentation, like, love their coffee bag design. They've been like an influence and inspiration to us. Love those little cards.
Dude, the cards have been so
excellent.
Cool. Like with every bag, you get like a little card. It's like almost like a, what do they call them? Like a postcard.
Yeah.
And it's so producer origin focused, and we love that. Like, that's so awesome. So they're doing one hell of a job out there. So if you're around there, if you're visiting, St. Frank's is where to go. Also, the second spot I think was just amazing. It was the Coffee Movement Cafe. It's a small little multi-roaster. It's very tiny. It's like like a corner of a room almost. Dang. Super small, just enough. And they have like a mod bar setup, so it's very compact. They were serving Onyx Coffee Lab, Black and White, and Coffee Collective from Denmark. Nice. And man, once again, like their batch, their drip was so dialed, so beautiful. Their espresso was just wonderful. Like, no complaints, no nothing. Yeah. Really cool guys. And what they had it's cool because they have such a small space. Right outside, like they had the sidewalk, they had like a couple benches, and then they had like a small, I don't even know what to call it. It wasn't a truck. It was like an old school,
like a flatbed movers, from what I kind of saw it on your IG.
Yeah, I took a photo of it and posted about it.
Very cool.
It's just such a unique concept, and that kind of creativity I think is needed in the coffee industry. Just more fun stuff. And there was just like a bunch of newspapers, and people just crowded around this truck with their coffees. And dude, that's we chatted, we talked with like the people around us, read the newspaper, like just such a good vibe. And then compare that with like world-class coffee. Like,
dude, that sounds incredible, dude.
Yeah.
Sounds like a multi-roaster done right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you were saying they were pretty busy?
Oh yeah. People coming in. So it was good. I think the third and last one that I would say is a solid one was probably have to go with oh man, it's tough. Probably have to go with Sight Glass. Very classic, very just like, it is what it is.
Where are they, in Oakland, San Francisco?
They're San Francisco. They have a couple locations. Just solid, solid brew. Like, you're gonna go there, it's gonna be consistent. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be established. And just
are they a roasting company?
Yeah, they are a roasting company. Yeah. So just a super solid, spot. I wouldn't say it was like anything like out of the ordinary, but sometimes you don't necessarily need something out of the
No,
ordinary.
yeah.
It's just that basic goodness, which I
Yeah.
like equate to, like, for example, like Woods Coffee. Like,
Right. Yeah.
their SOs are just really solid, good, sweet, but they're not also like this cool kids, third
Yeah.
wave
Yeah.
coffee shop. So,
Dude, that's awesome. I think out of all those cafes that you shared and others that you experienced, what was one concept that really stuck out to you that was kind of the through line? Like all those awesome cafes you mentioned, Sight Glass, was it Coffee Collective or
the coffee movement.
the Coffee Movement?
Yeah.
They serve the Coffee
Yeah.
Collective. And obviously St. Frank's. Like between those three, what was one thing that held all three of them together that said, this is it? Like, this is what makes them great.
I don't know if there was one unique thing like that was
Like a
found
shared
in all of them.
essence. Okay.
I guess I don't want to say the shared essence was necessarily coffee.
Yeah.
There was all really great coffee.
Yeah.
I don't want to go that far. Like, sure, I could. That's an easy way out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
an easy way out. So I don't know.
Was it their creativity to how they presented their coffee? Was it the atmosphere? Was it the aesthetic design? Was it, as basic as customer service?
They definitely did have, like, now that you're bringing up like aesthetic design, like they would definitely were very creative, beautiful spaces. St. Frank's is spectacular in there. Like, I could shoot photos in there all day.
Nice.
The coffee movement, just that little truck outside,
Yeah, that was dope.
was just insanely creative. And Sight Glass just had this actually their aesthetics inside. I was like, dude, if Mir opened up a cafe, there's some inspiration I'd low key just snag out of here, which was kind of cool. They also had like 2 sweet like keys machines, two group heads.
Oh, nice. I saw photos.
Which
Okay,
was
that
pretty
it.
which was pretty fun.
Yeah. Was that the same place where you took that photo of the EK?
No.
Was that St.
The
Frank's?
EK was the St. Frank's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why that photo sticks out. I don't know if it's the colors or the light.
EK?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. It just seems so like perfect. The mood is there.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So and then there's like a couple others. Like I went to Linea. I went to Sextant Coffee Roasters, which is an Ethiopian-owned. You can pour me some as well. This is an Ethiopian-owned coffee roasting company, and like it was great. Like I walked in, chatted with him with a little bit, and I instantly knew he was like the owner. Like there's just sometimes you get this owner vibe that's like, man, this guy, he's working like he owns the place, but he's also very relational and very relatable, and I love that. Like, and I think like I will say this, like I went to some cafes in San Francisco, which I won't name, that like the coffee was good, but the customer service was such a turnoff. And that's so unfortunate. Like, and at that point, I could care less actually how tasty your geisha was, how tasty your natural was. It just doesn't matter at that point after, you were kind of just treated like any other custy, any other customer. It just sucks,
Yeah.
But really walking into like Sextant, and they had an all Ethiopian menu, which makes sense because they're like, he has family in Ethiopia that's harvesting, that's exporting coffee.
That's so dope.
Which is super cool. But yeah, I just ordered a shot of espresso. He had a Ethiopian natural and washed blend, which is kind of funky and interesting. But yeah, just, I had a shot of espresso. He came around from behind the bar, literally just had a conversation with me. And I'm like, I appreciate that. And it was not the tastiest shot ever. Not to say it was bad. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good, but it wasn't the tastiest. I'd probably give that to St. Frank's, unfortunately.
Yeah. Fortunately.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
But yeah, like that, I'm telling you, like customer service, and I even hate calling it customer service, but like just being good to people.
Yeah.
There's no price tag on that. I actually would take a lower coffee quality and a higher customer service experience than an insane coffee experience and like a pretty crusty.
Yeah. That's a conversation I have with all the baristas that make with all the time.
Yeah.
And it's hard, especially if you are working in a high volume shop and there's a line forming at the door, and there's like this last week or weekend that we had, like where it's Micah and I on bar, and we know there's a line, and but we want to provide the best engagement as possible with our guests. And plus, like, working so much, you get to know these people. So you're right, it's not customer service. They become like, and even guest service isn't the right terminology. It's so much more than that, because you're literally serving coffee to your friends, and you want to spend time with your friends. And there's that tension, you know what I mean, between a line out the door and wanting to hang out with a buddy and serve them coffee.
100%.
But when it meets and when it hits, there's that connection that it doesn't matter. Your coffee becomes secondary. And even though we in, specialty coffee and third wave coffee, we always talk about what is specialty because it's graded at like 80 and above. It's driven with the idea of coffee quality. But this interaction with someone who's drinking that 80 or plus is much deeper and has so much more value to that graded number than, if it was a great coffee and horrible service.
Oh, 100%.
Doesn't really matter at that point.
Yeah. That's so good. And I think even in my early stages of getting into specialty coffee, I picked up on those things as well.
Yeah.
But like, man, that experience, and I get it. Like, you're right. Like, sometimes you can't do it because it's out the door.
Yeah.
But those cafes that I visited, had no line whatsoever. Like, I was the only person in line, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm not, like, it's not going to bother me, but I kind of wish it was different. You know what I mean? Which is kind of a bummer, but, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it just kind of shows to say that, coffee is just not all about flavor and your extraction and your TDS and all this stuff, which kind of even goes as far as like sourcing coffee.
Right.
Us buying green coffee is not just about finding the best coffee out there.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to, we could literally, go and scope out somehow, just get really amazing green in the roastery, but that's not quite the point.
Not our primary focus.
That's not the focus, and that there's such a deeper level. And I think when you can take care of those relational desires and have that be basis, then the coffee, I feel like, starts to taste a lot different. It starts to actually taste good and rich, and there's a story, there's a heart behind it, there's a I don't know, there's life to it rather than it's just transactional.
Dude, that's it. That's so good. I 100% agree. It develops into so much richer than just a beverage. And even though the beverage is still part of the experience, the overall connection between everything that we talk about, from the from the producer to the consumer. And those are like those almost too businessy of terms. It's more than that, because there's someone who grows the coffee and there's someone who drinks it. They're all people in the value chain. But when all of those are like playing, and it's almost like a dance when all of the parts are moving together in a very, very nice way, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's a nice experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love what you just said, is just, they're all people. That's it. Just them being people already should be enough.
That's enough.
For us to change how we view kind of doing business. Yeah.
For sure.
Cool, folks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little tour of San Francisco. That's a wrap for today. And before it all shuts off on us, we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.